This video is about the truth of what happened at this last past regional.
Hey guys, just finished top 8 at the remote regional. I cooked everyone at the tournament. I should have been XO. I had one loss the whole tournament. If it was top cut, I would have won, just like I did the last one. That was how I lost game 2 in that matchup as Rizal Beansmith against a player I had much better. There's no one I played that was remotely on my level.
Alright guys, it's time to set the truth straight, specifically talking to you, Trif, and then we're just gonna go over, talk about what really happened and how Trif got clapped up. And then for the rest of you, I'm gonna go over just my exact deck list, the deck profile of the deck that did clap Trif up. Nasty style, alright? And kind of go through the reasons why I chose it, what worked, what there was to change, and then it is going to be a long format, so hopefully you guys find some kind of value. But before all that, before we get into that, welcome to the channel. My name is Sebastian. I'm a film director turned Yu-Gi-Oh player. You know, when you play, it does take over your lives, but I am looking to always get better. I'm hoping to do that with you guys, so if you guys want to do that, just follow me on this journey, alright? And I'm going to try to do my best to give you guys best kind of content and to show you guys what it takes to get to that next level. But getting back into the video, this video is about the truth of what happened at this last past regional. So this last past weekend, we had the final remote regional of the 2024 year, right? It was actually a really competitive event with Top Cut featuring a bunch of YCS winners like Trif himself, Mark D'Amico, and then a bunch of people that also just topped multiple YCSs, like a guy who won the whole thing, my Argentino boludo, Franco Persano, I think it is. And then a few other Argentinians, Tainel and Los Otros Locos, you know. But in terms of the event itself, it was super competitive, great matchups every single round, with round 4 being myself against Trif. He was playing his new Bestial deck, which is a really cool deck, really great, but just unfortunate him. I do like his content. He is super dope outside of just the capping part, and I kind of knew what it did, so I had a really good game. It was really competitive, but it didn't quite go down as he said. But just taking it back so everyone else has context, this is what Trif said. Let's roll it.
Hey guys, just finished top 8 at the remote regional. Performed like miraculously. I cooked everyone at the tournament. I should have been XO. I had one loss the whole tournament. If it was top cut, I would have won, just like I did the last one. That was how I lost game 2 in that matchup as Rizal Beansmith against a player I am much better. There's no one I played that was remotely on my level. Against a player I am much better. There's no one I played that was remotely on my level. Like the one loss that I had, I drew Nibiru in my 24 hand trap deck, 1 Nibiru and 4 Beansmith cards. You can't do anything about that, bro. They're just unlucky. That's just the game. And then I lost in time.
Yeah, okay. So let me just clear a few things up, okay? So I know he says he lost because game 2 he only drew Nib and that it went into time. You know, his story kind of being that, oh, it was kind of a bad game and, you know, he didn't really have much going on and they were out of his control, which is cap. Absolute cap. Like, just for reference, you know, I don't have as many accomplishments, or I'm not as credited as some of the rest of the people that did top, but I was on fire that day. I truly believe that I was playing at one of the best levels I've played. Definitely a few levels above Trish, if I'm gonna be honest. And had I not thrown right after that, I do believe I would have won the whole tournament. But I'll give you a little more context on what happened. But up until that point, into when we were entering round 4, I was having a phenomenal tournament. I played some really great opponents, all at like a very high skill level. Got into really great games, but Rizal Beansmith just has so many layers. It just adds so much of a consistency. It's so hard to really beat someone that is piloting that deck really well, and that day I really was. So going into that round, I was shocked to see Trif in it. I didn't know that he was actually in the tournament up until that point. But he's actually a really cool guy, you know, despite everything. You know, there is no real beef between us, but he does cap, and sometimes you gotta call someone on their cap, you know? Okay, so right here we're just gonna go into a quick visual representation of what really happened between the games between me and Trish. So this first game, I won die roll, I went first, but he was playing his Bestial deck, so he does prefer to go second with the Tempai cards. Now, the only big takeaway from this one was where I ended up throwing the game at this specific part. We have kind of a back and forth. I have, my normal setup with Detonator and Rhizio Cross on the field with a Veiler in my hand. Now, he does have Fiendsmith Requiem, and he has a Jewess that he used to banish my Requiem to cut me off of that, which is the correct place to go ahead and stop that combo against Rhizio Fiendsmith. Now, right here, he does a really cool play where he actually goes, while the Requiem is on board with the Jewess Worm, he goes into SP Little Knight, Chainlink 1, Jewess target Detonator, Chainlink 2, SP, target my cross, and then I go Chainlink 3, Detonator, target his SP Little Knight. Here's a little bit of a misstep because for whatever reason, I did believe that the cross could go ahead and negate the Jewess in chain. So I tried to go ahead and bait out the SP. But the way that works is that when it resolves backward, the SP is going to be banishing the cross, so it won't be on the field to negate the Detonator, so it's getting rid of the Detonator either way. He goes and chains the SP Little Knight, targeting my Detonator, and right there, he would lose out to just one hand trap, which is Effect Veiler. I did have Effect Veiler in hand, and for whatever reason, I decided that I like it better in my hand, just kept it close to me, didn't use it, and allowed that all to resolve. Had I used the Effect Veiler, would have negated the SP Little Knight from banishing both my Detonator and my cross. Then my cross could have just negated the Jewess Worm, and I could have just played while keeping the cross and the recursion in rotation. This ends up costing me later because while we go out and we play the rest of our game, he ends up going into a Chaos Angel and banishes the last monster on my field. So I did have the out in my hand, and for those of you who don't know, the in-engine out to a Chaos Angel that isn't made with the Dark is just going to be a 3-material duo drive, which then drops your opponent's attack by 300 and then boosts your attack by 100 for each material. So right there, it would have dropped Chaos Angel to 32, and then if I can just put a Detonator on the board, then I just go ahead and beat over it 33. Granted that it's not made with a Dark, which this one wasn't. And so we get to a point where I have a Detonator, 3 materials, I go to overlay for a duo drive, both of them already in my grave. My cross is banished, so I have no way to recycle them, and I just lose. So then we go into game 2. This is where Trif said that he lost in time, that he drew just nib, that there's nothing really he could do. But in reality, he got clapped up. He got completely destroyed. So we're just going to go through what actually happened and what he did have and how this game actually played out. So I started off with Ice, Rhizio, standard Fiendsmith combo. Right here, we'll go in, go for the Exiton, just have the XYZ, Light Fiend, pretty crazy. Then I go into Fiendsmith Requiem. Now, this is where we uncover the first mistelling of Trif's story, because right here, actually, he goes ahead and uses Phantasme on the Requiem, right? With that, I do go ahead and chain the Requiem so that he doesn't get the basically the draw 2 and put 1 back. It's just the draw 1, and right there we go ahead. I'll go into just the Lacrima, and then from here we just go in and keep on building the board. I go ahead, put 2 level 6s on the board just to play around Nib, force Nib if he has it. He does have it, so he goes ahead and wipes my field and takes away the Phantasme, to which then I just have follow-up. So I go ahead, and before the follow-up, I actually go ahead and triple tax. Look at his hand. So he had Phantasme, Nib, and Ash, right? And from there, I just go ahead, I put away the rest of his hands, so that by clearing the Ash, I can just play through the rest without any problem. So I know that my dual drive is going to resolve, and that when he tries to go into just Tempai combo, I have Detonator just to go ahead and mitigate that. And then we also have Rise Cross on field to be able to negate any type of monster effect that he tries to use during that open game state. Then he goes ahead, goes into Fiend, he starts off with Fiendsmith's Track. I chain Detonator just to clear his field. Goes ahead, and right here, I do that so that it does two things. If he wants to negate my if he wants to negate my Detonator, he has to chain the Imperm before the Fable Lurry comes out. If he does that, I have follow-up, and I get the one card out of his hand, and we could go ahead and keep on playing. But here, it doesn't have it, so it just goes ahead, goes into Fiendsmith combo. When he goes Engraver effect to try to summon out, that's when I use my cross. I don't want to get it on the field, because then he can do a play where he goes Engraver to summon out and then chain Requiem. Then he's going to have both a 6 and a 4 on the field. If he does go into the Requiem, I would have the Detonator to go ahead and respond to any level 4 play that he tries to do from there. So I'm just really trying to keep the Engraver off the board, because also if he gets on the board, then he can just attach the Requiem and force out more of my Detonator pops. Then he goes Hydra. I go ahead, just clear the body, Chain Link 1, Detonator, Chain Link 2, Veiler. And from there, there's nothing more he can do. He was left on one card. He already tried going to Fiendsmith. He already tried going into the Tempai aspect of it. He had no option, right? And he just got completely just blown out. So we're going into game 3. He gets to choose, so he has the advantage at this point, and we are getting close to time. So this is where my sighting patterns and choices do reward me. Actually, at this point, since he was playing the Tempai, I wasn't too sure if he was going to choose to go first or second. We know now that he does still choose to go first. It's kind of Seals control with all the hand traps, with the follow-up from the Seals, with Seals still being an interruption. He does prefer to go first, control the game, and then try to clean it up by that second turn. Now, here I did keep in the Solemn Strikes because they are good, going first and second, and Infinite Impermanence is still safe enough to use in both aspects, as is Triple Tax, right? So here he goes ahead, starts off with Singing Summoning, and discards the Baldrake. I know that he's talked about not liking Baldrake. I'm not sure if he cut it yet or not. But in this, he goes into creating the Seals while not wasting his Chandra. So he's utilizing the Genroku. And from there, he goes ahead, makes a Seal pass. So I do have an option right here. I do have Imperm and Triple Tax. So I can go ahead and first action Imperm the spheres, and then Triple Tax to go ahead, look at his hand, play from there. But I did want this Seals to be live, and I have both Engraver and Ice in hand to be able to play through interruptions pretty well. So I know the choke point that he's gonna most likely use the Seals, and then from there I can just punish the summon with Ash, look at his hand, and then just proceed to full combo from there. So that's what I choose to do. I go ahead and start off with Ice. Go into X, get my follow-up. Then right here, I go into Exiton. Then, of course, right there is the right place to go ahead and blind spears me. He then uses that to summon a negate, but it negates effect, not activation. So since he activated, I can go ahead and utilize that triple attack. So look at his hand. He has Nib again, and he has Ash. So at this point, I know that I have the Engraver to go ahead and take out the Nib's importance here. So I would just need to be playing around in Ash. So as long as I take this Ash out of here, I can go ahead and just go into full Ryziel combo. So I just am gonna just take out the Ash, leave the Nib, and then Engraver, and then just go attract into Lurie, then Lurie, and then go into Requiem into the Lacrima dump. So I already have layered interruptions on his turn. And I go ahead, attach a Requiem with the link, make my princess, go here, and 2 level 6 on the board, knows I'm going into Caesar. He has to nib me at this point. So then here, I just go into full combo with my Ryziel. And I also have an Imperm and a Solemn Strike here to go ahead and just add more layers to my interruptions while he's on little to no cards. So I go ahead, I set my 2 cards, and I do know that his last card in hand is Chandra. So I go ahead, I beat over his Nibiru. Go ahead, attack. He's at 52. We're getting low on time here, but as you can see, he did not lose the time. I had Cross, I had Dual Drive, I had Detonator, I had Strike, I had Imperm, and I still had Lacrima and Paradise Engrave, right? And I know that the last card in his hand is the Chandra, so right here, there's just nothing he can do. I do let him just go into battle. I let him attack, and then I just use the Solemn Strike. So nonetheless, that was a really good tournament, and those were some really great games. I put in a lot of work just practicing, just understanding the meta. And honestly, that's the real reason why I made the video, because it's not just a dump on Trif, right? You know, he was a great player, you know, really like amazing what he's done for the game, and probably one of the most innovative thinkers in Yu-Gi-Oh! At this moment. But outside of that, he did get clapped up, you know, and it was done by someone that put in the work, right? And I say that because I'm not too different from a lot of you, right, that don't have the accolades or, you know, have still a lot to prove, right? I just put in a lot of hard work, you know, understood my matchups, and still have a way to go, right? Just keeping that composure, because, you know, tournaments and getting to those higher levels are about keeping your composure. I think that's something I still lack, but it will come with time, you know, so hopefully we can see any of you guys that put in that hard work know that just because they're a big name, just because they have, you know, accolades in the past, doesn't mean that you can't beat them with hard work, with tenacity, with vigor. So when one of us does put in that work, it's important that, you know, the record is straight, you know, it's not just blown up proportion that they were completely destroyed, or that, you know, it was just bad luck, because, you know, we can do it too. With that said, I do have a deck list. I would want to show it in this video, but there's not enough time. So if you guys do want to see that deck list, if you guys do want to see a little bit more about the choices that went into building this for that tournament that I still topped with, you know, some of the best players in the game right now, just go ahead, comment down below, subscribe, and just keep up, because I am looking to provide you all with more value in the upcoming days. So please keep a lookout. Thank you guys for watching. And then Trif, if you're watching this too, let's get that run back, man. I am willing to put money on the line that I could do it again and again and again.